Hello, my friends, and welcome back. In this video, we will be talking about color and not just the stereotypical definition of each color. For instance, blue is for calmness, red is for passion, yellow is for happiness. But I'd like you to understand color on a deeper level because there's so much more to it on how it affects our nervous system, our mind, our mood, and everything in between. So I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you will see color differently on a deeper level. So that is my intent for today's video. Now let's get started. So I'd like to start with brown. Brown is the most grounding color there is. And in our mind, brown symbolizes earth, grounding energies, protection, and stability. Even if you think about the basics that give us the sense of comfort is bread, potatoes, chocolate. So this comes from early generation from our ancestors when brown was associated with safety and a cave, if you really think that far back. So brown in interior gives you that same feeling of comfort, safety, security, and it's perfect for individuals who are overly stimulated, anxious, they may have panic attack, they just don't feel safe in the world. Brown would be a beautiful color to incorporate in your home. It has also been proven that brown can affect our memory in a good way. So we actually memorize things better in brown interiors. So again, this would be perfect for areas for studies, even kids' playrooms. Brown would be fantastic color. So again, think about brown as your go-to color for stability, security, and comfort. The next color is pink, and pink is associated with motherly energy, self-care, self-love, and emotional safety. So if you have any topics or anything you're working on with regards to self-love and self-acceptance and gentleness, pink would be your color. So this color can be greatly used in self-care corners if you just want to take the time and give yourself all the love and care you truly deserve. And pink is a beautifully nurturing color as well, but more on a gentle tone, more of like, again, this motherly hug or a tea with, warm honey. That would be something for you to consider. And fun fact is that in the United States, they use color called drunk tank pink. And they would paint these cells in this pink color. And what it showed is that it would actually decrease aggression in prisoners within 15 minutes. So that's just something to think about and appreciate pink on a deeper level. Now let's talk about red. As we all know, red is a very bright and stimulating color. It actually raises our heartbeat and blood pressure, and it takes our body into this fight mode. So whenever you think about using red in your interiors, think twice. If you are a person who tends to get very easily overly stimulated or stressed out or anxious, red might not be the color for you. However, if you're someone who, kind of finds yourself a little bit lazy, you want to kind of pick yourself up and carry yourself through the world and want that little pick-me-up better than a coffee, perhaps you can incorporate some red here and there, but more in accents. Red is a beautiful accent color. Again, has to be used sparingly. And just keep in mind that if you are spending too much time in red interiors, you will feel overly stimulated and exhausted, because it does tend to pick up our endurance as well. But for a prolonged period of time, it is not healthy for us. And if you notice, a lot of gyms use red in their interiors because they want to create that sense of boost that sense of endurance, which is what we need when we are working out, but not in the areas where you would like to rest and relax. However, in kitchens, using red plates, red napkins, where you want to increase your appetite and metabolism, red would be an okay color. The next color that's on our list is orange. Orange is a perfect color for your inner child. So if you're someone who has lost this spark for life and you feel like everything is just so mundane and boring and bland, then invite more orange into your home. Orange creates the sense of creativity, warmth, connection. It improves digestion, imagination. So having orange sparingly, here and there as accents could be something you can start with. And it's also perfect for children's playrooms because, again, they have this sense of creativity and just letting go and forgetting about rules and forgetting about fitting in. So think about having that color in areas where you feel like you're holding yourself back, and you will see what happens. The next color is yellow. And yellow is almost like having a light bulb on in your brain. So it turns on this sense of full focus and clarity and logic and intelligence. So you're on like a light switch. And it's perfect for areas where you need to feel like that. Maybe it's in a workspace, maybe it's in a creative studio, in where you do networking or negotiations would be a really, really perfect color for that. However, when you are, submerged in a yellow room for a prolonged period of time, your nervous system will get tired as well, just like with red, because you're literally keeping it on at all times. So it's been actually proven that even in daycares where the rooms were painted in bright yellow, children would cry more because their nervous system could just not handle so much of stimulation. So keeping that at a bare minimum where you need it, almost like a recipe, knowing where you need to have that boost of energy, go ahead and use that. But as far as other restful rooms like bedrooms and family rooms where you just want to relax and have yourself, a very peaceful evening or morning, try not to use as much yellow. The next color is green. And green signals our mind that we are surrounded by nature. And of course, nature makes us feel harmonious, calm, relaxed, restorative, balanced, and that's what we need to feel at all times, really. So incorporating green in your home is absolutely crucial for whichever type of a personality you are. It's great for bedrooms, family rooms, living rooms, and workspaces where you need to feel more relaxed, more connected with yourself. You want to feel like you're not in a hurry, which is quite lovely because a lot of times we're just so constantly running around, like even with the yellow color I previously spoke about, where you have to be efficient and you have to hustle. Green is about slowing down and just enjoying the present moment. So try to use green at anywhere you can, and it doesn't have to be this like bright green that you may envision in your head as I'm talking about it. It could be olive green, moss green, sage green. This color palette is absolutely stunning for your home, and again, it's like a living organism that supports you and helps you grow and relax. The next color is blue, and blue is associated with peace, tranquility, calmness, and clarity. It slows down our heart rates. It makes us feel more calming, more relaxed. So it's perfect for rooms where we need to feel like that, where we need to kind of calm our nervous system after a long, let's say, busy and overstimulating day. So it's perfect for bedrooms, reading nooks where you just want to really come back to yourself and calm down. However, if it's used too much in other areas where you live or eat, it gives the sense of coldness and emotional distance. And a lot of times, especially in kids' rooms where it's just too much blue, they tend to feel a little bit more sad and they don't have the sense of like kind of emotional stability. So blue is great, but again, too much of it can make you feel a little bit too down. So try to use blue strategically, and of course there's different shades of blue. Lighter blues are not as dominating as, let's say, navy, right? So just keep that in mind when you use blue in your home. The next color is purple, and purple is great for inviting more intuitive thinking and imagination. It's great for any spiritual corners, any nooks where you do journaling or arts and crafts where you want to really turn on your imagination and hear yourself on a deeper level. And you can also think about colors more in different spectrums of their tones. So lavender and amethyst are great for adding more sophistication to your space. But again, if you're using purple in rooms that are already quite dark, let's say they don't have a lot of natural light, I would stay away from purple there because it will just make the space feel much, much heavier. Another interesting fact about purple is that purple is the least delicious color for our brain. So it's the most appetite suppressing color. Again, if you do need that in your kitchen, go ahead and switch your plates to purple plates. The next color is white. And white, as you may know already, is all about purity, lightness, cleanliness, and so forth. It's about having the fresh start, no stimulation whatsoever. However, an interesting fact about white is for HSPs or highly sensitive people, white could be somewhat alarming. Because a lot of times when we're surrounded in very white interiors, we do not feel safe. And if you think about, again, a scenario where you're in an airport, you're with a suitcase and you're in this giant white building with white tile, white ceiling, and white walls, you feel unsafe. You feel insecure and anxious. So that's what too much white does in our home as well. So introducing some warm tones, perhaps a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange or green or light blue, will kind of create this a bit of more stability. But again, if you are into just having this completely clean, fresh slate and you want that sense of new beginning, white would be perfect for any even meditative areas or kitchens or workspaces where you don't want any stimulation whatsoever. But again, making sure that your house is not entirely white everywhere would be important to keep in mind. And the last one we'll talk about is black. And interesting enough, whenever I think about black or I see clients who are requesting any black interiors, this signals that person needs to feel a sense of control. It's this color that makes you feel disciplined, put together, and in control of a very chaotic emotional environment. So it gives you the sense of structure, predictability, control, stability. So if that's something that you need, you can incorporate black as an accent. Try not to create too much black everywhere because it will feel too depressing and too heavy for you. But if you do need that sense of accuracy and organization in your life, black would be something that you could do for sure. Now, another interesting thing I want to mention is that if there's a certain color that you almost like repel, you listen to this whole video and you almost kind of wanted to skip a few colors or that one particular color that you absolutely are not interested in because you say, you know what, I will never use that color in my house. I'd like to invite you to actually think about why. Because since every color carries its energy and you say no to that particular color, it's almost like you're not inviting or you're blocking that particular energy. In the healthy scenario, in a healthy environment, we should be okay with every color because it's almost like an ingredient that we need for certain things to live harmoniously. So ask yourself, which color do I say no to and why? Because perhaps that's what you really need in your life to really make it full. And interesting enough, when I was making this video, I had to retake probably this video 5 times when I was talking about orange. And I agree, I don't really like orange. I don't really use orange in any projects or my house. But it actually made me think, well, perhaps there is something to it because it's almost like when they say, if you're afraid of something, go there and take it, right? Because there's something better on the other side. It made me think about today, or made me realize that perhaps I do need to incorporate more orange. I do need to, give more comfort to my inner child and release more creativity and more warmth and more connections in me and for me. So that was quite an interesting experiment that I found about myself. So I'd like you to ponder about it too, and perhaps leave the comment below and let me know what's your favorite color in your home to use, and what's the color that you would never use. That would be quite interesting to see, and I'd love to hear what you say. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care.